The goods from the wood.
Hot damn! Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for this week's Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame. Joe, just to catch you up, we like to put people we respect, interesting people, musicians, writers, artists, luminaries, people of great import into the Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame. And today I'm putting in a person who is statistically impossible. July 1st, 1847, the amateur German astronomer Carl Ludwig Hinke discovers the asteroid Hebe in the asteroid belt, which is located in between Mars and Jupiter. And Hebe is the sixth largest asteroid to ever be discovered, and it's the fifth brightest object in the asteroid belt. Scientists go on to conclude that due to its unique composition and density, that Hebe is most likely the parent of the H. chondrite meteorites, and that around 40% of all meteors striking the Earth are pieces of Hebe.
Fascinating.
Does it give you the heebie-jeebies? I was just reading that. I had to double check to make sure that was the actual pronunciation, but that is the pronunciation of it. And by the way, just for distinction purposes, meteors are what you see falling with the tails and all that. Meteorites, if they survive the fall, the rock that's left over is called a meteorite. So it only becomes a meteorite if it doesn't completely disintegrate in the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay.
And just to let you know, I mean, this tale is kind of sad, but you know, there's a little bit of glory at the end, I think. So at some point in the last 4 billion years, Hebe collided with another asteroid, and a piece of it broke off, and that set in motion a fateful collision with the planet Earth. November 30th, 1954, at 12:30 p.m. local time, residents of eastern Alabama reported seeing a, quote, bright reddish light like a Roman candle trailing smoke. And people working at Gant's Marble Quarry near Sylacauga, Alabama, described it as a, quote, a fireball, like a gigantic welding arc. And the fiery light in the sky was accompanied by several tremendous explosions as a gigantic meteor broke up in the atmosphere over Alabama. Have you ever seen a meteor before, Joe?
I have not.
No? Not even like a quick one? Like a shooting star?
I think I saw a meteorite at the Smithsonian, but I don't think I have ever seen any like actual thing in the sky, no.
Wow, not okay. Yeah, I was wondering if you ever go out for those meteor showers or anything. Or you just
I've seen something shoot across the sky before.
That's it. That's a meteor. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess like a shooting star.
Yeah, a shooting star is a meteor.
I've seen a shooting star before.
Yeah, that's a
like
meteor.
Once.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a meteor. That
I wished upon it.
Oh, yeah, so back to the story. The meteorite breaks up in the atmosphere, and it's just like, boom, 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 big explosions. Seconds later, Ann E. Hodges had been feeling a bit ill and was underneath 2 quilts, napping on her couch in her home in Oak Grove, Alabama, which is right next to Sylacauga, when suddenly an 8-pound red-hot football-sized ancient rock smashed through her roof, bounced off the console radio, and struck Anne directly in the hip, leaving a huge bruise in the shape of a pineapple.
Wait, so was it still hot, though?
When it hit the roof, it would have been pretty damn hot.
What if it had burned her? Did it burn her?
Oh, I got a picture. That's what her hip looked like.
Fuck me. That is not okay. That
just a
fucking is that a bruise?
That's a bruise, man.
So that's not a burn.
That's a bruise.
It looks like a feather. It looks like an eagle feather.
Everything I read, like National Geographic and the New York Times, they all described it as a pineapple-shaped bruise. But then other ones described it as a pineapple-sized bruise. I would say both are true.
What is this creepy-ass doctor doing, pulling her shirt up and just like... I mean, look, his hand is literally in his crotch, and he's pulling the shirt up.
Hey, it was the 50s, man. Dudes were horny.
This picture has so many things I just don't care for. And he's just got a bow tie. I don't trust anyone in a bow tie. You know what's behind a bow tie? Secrets.
That's the name of the episode. Anne's mother, Ida Franklin, was sewing in the next room and rushed to the front to find her daughter dazed and bruised, as one might imagine, staring up through a hole in the ceiling as dusk continued to settle. The craziest thing is, like, Anne was, like, in the corner, like, already up. Like, if you see this goddamn bruise, I can't believe she was walking. That's fucking crazy.
Well, I imagine if, like, a rock falls out of the sky and lands on you, you're up and moving. Like, you know.
You're awake. So they called the cops, and word of the incident quickly spread through the community, attracting curiosity seekers. The police summoned Dr. Moody Jacobs. So that's the name of the doctor with the bow tie, is Moody Jacobs.
I just don't care for him at all.
Paging Dr. Moody.
I'm very moody.
I'm a doctor, and I'm also a progressive blues band. So Moody Jacobs comes over to investigate Hodges, and geologist George Swindle, who is at Gant's Quarry nearby, comes to assess the alien rock, which he was able to identify as a meteorite with some certainty.
Who's fucking asking a guy from the quarry what this thing in the sky? See, this is why things that happened in the 50s were dumb. Most things in the 50s were just dumb.
This gets very dumb. Well, the quarry I've been to, by the way, Gant's Quarry, it's sort of down a dirt road away from Sylacauga. It's actually considered a ghost town because they disestablished the town. There's a bunch of kind of empty houses.
Well, like when God tries to destroy your town with rocks from the sky.
Well, that's Oak Grove. That's a couple towns over. This is where people were working at the quarry when this thing exploded in the atmosphere, because this happened in the middle of the day. And so I imagine everybody just kind of, ran to where they heard this lady got hit by the meteorite. But anyway, by the time her husband, Eugene Hodges, a utility worker, returned home, so many people had flocked to the Hodges house that he had to push gawkers off the porch in order to get inside.
Fucking really?
Anne was overwhelmed by the crowd, and she was transferred to a hospital. With Cold War paranoia running high, the, quote, Hodges meteorite was confiscated by Sylacauga Police Chief W.D. Ashcraft, who turned it over to the Air Force, who came to the scene to investigate the possibility of an aviation crash or a UFO. And they took the rock to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio for analysis, confirming that it was a meteorite. And it was then delivered to the Pentagon. But due to public pressure and the intervention of Congressman Kenneth Roberts and the Hodges attorney Huel Love, everybody in this story has a great name, they eventually brought the rock back to the Hodges' possession.
The congressman got involved to make sure they got their fucking sky rock back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I miss the days of the South when there was lots of old dudes whose names would be like WD or EL or
Yep. JD.
JD, yeah. You don't get that too much anymore in the South. There's not too many guys who just go by their abbreviated names.
Well, you're from a classier part of this of Alabama. You're from the big city down there in East Alabama, where this story takes place. Where I'm from, I'm friends with a couple of JDs and JBs, so we're still around.
Oh, okay, all right.
And she said when she was asking for the meteorite back, quote, "I feel like the meteorite is mine. I think God intended it for me. After all, it hit me."
It's supposed to kill you, though.
Yeah. So once the story ran in the local paper, it was picked up nationwide, and Anne became an instant celebrity. She and her husband were photographed by the New York Times with her lying on the couch just as she had been on the day, and her husband holding the meteorite. And that December, Anne brought it to New York City for an appearance on Gary Moore's nationally televised game show, I've Got a Secret.
I've Got a Secret.
Which I looked up. It's they just redid in the late 90s as the Nickelodeon game show Figure It Out. If you remember that one, where it was...
no, I do not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Figure It Out. Basically, they'd have a contestant, and then they would tell the audience what their deal was, and then these panelists would have to ask them questions to figure it out. And you would win more money the more rounds you got. And she only won $80 because somebody guessed it immediately, because I guess they'd heard her name in the paper. By the way, this is the photo that appeared in the New York Times of, look how big that goddamn rock is.
Why is she under so many blankets?
So she's posing the way she did on the day. So that's her laying on the couch, or the day bed is what it looks like.
I was like, why the hell is she just laying under 20 blankets for the picture? The only way this could have been better is if the bruise had been the shape of Jesus.
Well, the story, by the way, is about to turn Bama as fuck in a second here.
Roll Tide.
So... Anne and Eugene were renters, and their landlady, here's another great name, Birdie Guy.
Birdie makes good ass banana pudding.
Oh, yeah, you bet your ass. She wanted the meteorite for herself because she said it was her property. And she wanted to somehow recoup the costs of fixing her roof, or a fucking rock.
She was going to sell the meteorite to WD to fix the roof, from the lumber from EG, to borrow the car from SL.
So Guy obtained a lawyer and sued. The law was actually on her side, but public opinion was not. And after receiving hate mail for weeks, Guy settled out of court, giving up her claim to the meteorite.
Jesus. How is this story even getting out to have hate mail? There's no Twitter in this time.
It was in the New York Times. So people just looked her up in the damn phone book. And if you ever look at an old newspaper, they straight up printed people's addresses.
What kind of psychotic person goes through the trouble of looking up an address in 1950 something?
Dude.
It's because they're taking away her fucking space rock that hit her in the... Oh my God.
You want to hear something really fucking wild? They have a newspaper, like a free newspaper resource. I know if you do like Ancestry.com or whatever, you can have access to all that shit. There's a free one that I've used in the past to just do like family research.
Yeah.
And I typed in my grandfather's name into the thing, and the one hit I got was from the 50s, and it said Ruth and Obie Langley of Staten Island, New York, are away visiting relatives in Alabama this week. They're expected to return, and it fucking said their address and where they were gone and when they'd be back.
Man, it would have been so easy to be a criminal.
Oh my God! Why wasn't everybody a criminal? Like
I would have totally been like, well, they won't be home. Guess I'm gonna rob all of their stuff. And
not only I would live there.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, they're going away on Thursday. They'll be back Sunday. Shit, I'm moving in Thursday fucking night, and then I'll steal everything Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and then just leave town because there's no such thing as like a national.
No. Leave town and get a new driver's license.
Yeah, just change your fucking name. That's what I would have done. Like back in the old times, like even if I committed a crime or not, it's just like a random Tuesday. Well, guess what? I'm Steve Steverson now, and I live like 8 miles that way, which in this time of the day is like a million years away.
Yeah, so that's how she was getting so much hate mail, is because I guarantee you, as soon as this happened, the local paper was like, Ann Hodges of 363 Oak Grove Road or whatever. They would print the addresses straight up, so people would send people mail and things.
How bored do you have to be like, I just do not care for that they're taking that woman's rock from her.
Think about today,
could have killed her, and I'm going to write a letter.
Everything that we see today is just the easiest possible version of this, but that little grain has been in everybody's brain for years of just like, I'm mad.
Someone should have to read why I'm mad. I'm going to send a letter expressing my anger.
That's the first thing that happened when we invented language. I'm sure of it.
It's the reason why the language is invented, to like articulate your complaint better.
Yeah, just to be able to bitch and moan. That's why they invented cuneiform in Sumeria. Oh, so she gave up the claim to the rock for $500, which, by the way, is about $4,500 in today's money. So it's pretty good.
I mean, that's good money.
Eugene didn't mind paying the settlement because he was convinced that the couple could make big money off the rock. And this led to his turning down a modest offer from the Smithsonian. And the couple tried to get gawkers to come to public viewings of the meteorite and offered them a chance to meet Ann, but they did not make enough money to continue the sideshow. Ann believed the meteorite was cursed. This is where it gets fucking sad. She suffered a nervous breakdown due to the continuous financial stress and litigation caused by the meteorite. And in 1964, Ed and Ann separated. And then September 10th, 1972, Ann E. Hodges, the only human being ever struck by a meteorite. Well, at the time, in 1992, a kid in Uganda would be struck by another meteorite. But at the time, the only human being ever to be struck by a meteorite died of kidney failure at a Sylacauga nursing home.
That'd be kind of funny if, like, as she died from kidney failure, a meteorite crashed through the ceiling and landed on her again. Like, that's what killed her.
Just crushed her.
That's how she would have wanted to go, I think.
It's honestly, it's better than kidney failure.
Yeah.
I'd 100% rather have my head taken off by a meteorite. Today, the Sylacauga meteorite sits in the Alabama Natural History Museum on the campus of University of Alabama. It's been there since 1956. And there is actually in front of the City Hall in Sylacauga, Alabama, because they are known for their marble industry. We mentioned Gant's Quarry.
They're known for their meteorites.
Well, get this. They got the best of both worlds. In front of the City Hall, they have a gigantic marble statue of a flaming meteorite falling to Earth.
That'd be so awesome if part of the statue was like an old dilapidated like house. Also made of marble, with,
right?
Like the comet going towards it.
Yeah, they just went way overboard with it. They're like, "This is too much shit."
You can see inside the statue, and it's just a lady under a blanket,
and there's just a man in a scarf from an art museum going, "Busy, busy." And then this is where it's really fucked. All right, so all of this horrible stuff happened to her. The day after the meteorite fell to Earth, a local farmer, Julius McKinney, came upon the second largest fragment from the same meteorite. An Indianapolis-based lawyer purchased it for the Smithsonian, and the McKinney family was able to use the money to purchase a car and a house.
Jesus, maybe her piece was fucking cursed.
You would have been way better off to take the second biggest piece, and that one's the one that's in the Smithsonian now. Yeah, and they got a car and a house out of the deal.
Car and a fucking house. My God.
So while Ann's story is a tragedy that absolutely proves that life is a series of random, literally cosmic events, today we hope that she's out there right now floating past Hebe in that great asteroid belt as we celebrate her statistically impossible life here on Earth, and we welcome Annie Hodges into the Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame.